Hyland, the owner of Forestdale Farm. We're here at the farm today. We're looking at the Western SARE Farmer Producer Grant that we're currently working on. SARE stands for Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education, and this project is looking at increasing crop yields, soil health, and farm diversity, utilizing sustainable aquaculture systems to increase vegetable crop production. So right now we're in one of our high tunnels, and we have several fish tanks lined up along the side here that we've converted into aquaculture systems. So these are small 200-gallon tanks, and we have catfish and minnow species in them currently. As part of the project, we are looking at rearing catfish in aquaculture systems, including a large catchment pond that we'll look at later, and we're examining how this aquaculture can benefit small farms. I will run through a little bit about our setup in the high tunnel here for aquaculture, and then we'll go look at the catchment pond and our grow beds. So first, a quick rundown of what is needed for fish production. And this is a great example that you can do it on any scale. So these are 200-gallon tanks here, and they're basically set up to function and mimic a stream system. For keeping fish happy, and for that matter alive, your main concerns are all around water quality. Fish excrete ammonia as a waste product, and if the ammonia levels get too high in the water, it can be toxic to the fish. However, the great thing is that when ammonia is present in the water, natural bacteria can form and help break down that ammonia. The first set of bacteria that forms will break down ammonia into nitrite, and nitrite is also very toxic, even more than ammonia, for fish. So again, luckily there's another bacteria that will form and break down the nitrite into nitrate. Now nitrate fish can handle at higher levels in the water, and the great thing about nitrate is that it is exactly what plants need for healthy growth. It's a part of the nitrogen cycle, so plants can take that nutrient out of the water, utilize it for growth, and especially for leafy greens, which we're focusing on in this experiment. Nitrogen is a huge part of getting high production and yields on them. So by mimicking a natural stream process, the way that we can do that in a system small like this is through our filter and beads. So we have these small filters on each tank, and they're full of these tiny little beads, and these have a lot of surface area on them for bacteria to colonize. So again, since we're having higher densities in these tanks than you would find in nature, you need a large variety of surface area for the bacteria to colonize. And this ensures that as the nitrite and the ammonia fluctuate, the bacteria can increase or decrease to kind of balance it out. So in this example, the filter like this is essentially serving the same purpose as hundreds of yards of stream, where river and gravel would be filtering water waste and breaking down the fish waste that's in the water. The other key is water movement and oxygenation in the water. So a stream is naturally moving, and as it cascades over rocks and over riffles, it creates water movement, and you also get that water oxygen, or the oxygen, into the water system. In this aquaculture system, we have to supplement oxygen, so we have aerators. These basically pump air into the water, and then we have a pump that will pump the water through the filter that ensures that there's adequate water movement, and it also will go through the filter, again filtering out those toxic ammonia and nitrite, and then it'll bring it back into the tank, aerating it some more. All right, so we're back in the high tunnel, and I wanted to see if we could catch some of the catfish here so we can show you what they look like. So part of this experiment is we're looking at fish growth. So we measured the fish at the beginning of the experiment, and we're going to measure the length at the end of the experiment. And again, with the pond and the cover there, having fish in that larger body of water with the solar cover on it, increasing the water temperature, all of that allows us to get really good growth on the fish. And we're kind of hoping to see if we can kind of maximize that in these systems. So let me see if I can catch a few here. So these are the catfish size. So these are juvenile catfish. These are channel catfish. So channel catfish are very popular in North America. Typically, the average catfish they caught, might be 2 feet, weigh maybe 10 pounds. So it's a good sized fish. but they can get up to 4 feet. They can be 60-pound fish. So it's a great species to work for aquaculture. It's a great one to get a lot of growth on, and that's kind of what we're hoping to show in this experiment. So we're at the farm now, and this is a lot larger. So this is about 16,000 gallons, and we can use this to get a lot more growth on the fish. And again, it's kind of set up the same system as those. So we've got aeration, we've got pumps for water movement, and we're kind of creating a natural system that mimics that stream setting. We've built a solar cover over the pond, and the great benefit about this is that it reduces evaporation, but it also helps heat the water. Since catfish are a warm water species, the warmer you can get the water, the more growth you will get on the fish. So having fish in a larger system like this, we're able to get bigger growth on them. And again, for a small farm like us, that adds another commodity, and it also helps diversify our farm. So a big part of this project is looking at how irrigating from these aquaculture systems, such as the pond, can increase our soil health and also increase our crop yields. So again, the end product that is in the water is the nitrate. And if you're thinking back to a stream system, along stream beds, there's all kinds of diverse plant life, and a lot of those plants are pulling nutrients out of that water to thrive. So we are trying to mimic that here again, where we're getting that steady dose of nitrogen to our leafy greens to help increase that production. So for this experiment, we've used all these metal beds that are the same length and the same width. So half of the beds are irrigated out of city water, and the other half are irrigated out of the pond water. And we will be comparing the soil health in those beds throughout the season. So we're harvest day today here at the farm, and all these beds have been cut a few times already and allowed to regrowth. But again, we expect higher yields out of the beds that have been irrigated out of the pond water. We also expect a quicker regrowth, which again increases that yield. So now I'm going to show you how we harvest them. So we use the quick cut harvester here, and this gets a nice even cut on everything. And we'll cut the whole bed at the same length, and then we'll measure that yield. So here is a bed of arugula, and this is irrigated with pond water. So again, all of the beds, we took soil samples at the beginning of the experiment, and we're going to take them at the end of the experiment. We're looking at all the available nutrients and also the biotilth and the soil biology, including fungi and bacteria, and we want to compare the differences and the changes throughout the experiment. So the beds that are irrigated out of the pond water, since we're using more of a living water, we have fish, we have insect production in there, we expect to have increased soil activity. And again, healthy soil leads to healthy plants.